Oh, shoot. Someone's just also reminded me. Worming, thanks for $2. Remember pay deductions for partial strikes bill. This also came up and
Oh
concerns
my
me quite a lot.
god. You got another one?
Yep.
I didn't see that.
Uh,
Wait, or have we talked about this one? Am I just not
no,
recognizing the name? No.
I. It came up in my blue. Seriously, this is the
Oh
first show we're
hell.
talking about every freaking.
See, this is why I stayed away from the news the holidays because I knew it was gonna be heaps when we came back, eh?
Oh, just everything.
Fuck.
Pay deductions for partial strikes to be reintroduced thanks to Honourable Brooke Van Velden.
Mm.
Changes to collective bargaining will help rebalance the rights and consequences of industrial action. Workplace Relations and Safety Minister Brooke Van Velden says. A bill to allow for pay deductions in response to partial strikes will be introduced today. Partial strikes are industrial actions that normally involve turning up to work but refusing to partake in key parts of the job. Often it is the public who lose out or are caught in the middle when these partial strikes happen. Intentionally causing disruption to customers or to the employer's output is not only currently a permitted collective bargaining tactic, but employers' options to respond are limited. Currently, if an employee is engaging in a partial strike, their employer cannot deduct their pay unless they suspend the employee or issue a lockout notice. To provide a more effective and efficient bargaining environment, the coalition government is reinstating provisions into the Employment Relations Act to allow for pay deductions in response to partial strikes. Miss Van Velden says.
So what? They just prefer full strikes always and never ever partial? And also, like, so you're telling me that they're currently making a bunch of cuts. They're not giving people the pay rises they're asking for, and now they're going to punish them for trying to actually fight for that. Fuck
Yeah,
me.
for
I
better,
swear to
for better.
Ah! Ah! Fuck
Examples of
hell.
recent partial strikes actions include in August 2024, hospital-based MRI and nuclear medicine technologist undertook partial strike action, including limits on the number of scans completed each day that resulted in a reduction of around 50% of scans delayed in early cancer treatment, increased in wait lists, increased outsourcing costs, and required additional frontline staff to cover the striking workers' radiology work. Cool. But they should. Okay. Yes. The striking is part of it. Like, how are we supposed to get better pay rises if you're not going to give them to us? Then you should be striking for it. If it comes to a strike, it means you haven't come to a deal.
Which is why they're
20,
trying to make them not be able to do it.
exactly. And then they can't do anything about the fact that they're not getting the pay and things that they deserve as government
Oh,
is their
I swear to God.
employer. Teachers undertook strike action in 2023. The partial strike action included refusing to teach certain year groups on particular days, which disrupted student learning and impacted the ability of some parents to work. True, however, they actually did that as a way to limit the disruption to students.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of across the board, they did one day it was just year nines that had to stay home. One day they did just year tens had to stay home. Yes, it disrupts the parents, but it also puts it on their radar that their kids' education is important,
Mm.
and you
And if
should
the
pay the
teachers are
teachers
willing to
that are
do
teaching you.
this, yeah.
It's a last resort. Strike action is the last resort. Like the unions do a lot to negotiate on their behalf. So it's when they don't come to a agreement that they have to strike.
Yeah, like
Defence
this.
Force Public Service Association unions members have been working to rule, and from November they have been taking coordinated breaks and stopped working at heights or off-site. In response, the Minister of Defence has authorised uninformed personnel to cover civilian work in some selected areas. 2024, train operators in Wellington began work to rule industrial action, including refusing shift changes, leading to disruption for travellers.
Well, yeah, because I remember
Yes,
we did cover
striking does cause disruptions for
the
everything.
defense force having to step in and cover for people. So I do actually vaguely remember some of that, but yeah, I mean, like there was quite a few comments here that I mean just point out some pretty obvious things, like pay deductions for refusing to do overtime. Like, that sounds ethical. You know, I need those MRIs, but I need my technicians well paid too. Because,
You need
we need.
technicians to do the MRIs. If they don't want to take up the profession, no one is going to do the MRIs for you.
Also,
It's
if we
just going
think
to make the
about it,
problem worse.
MRI machines are like crazy magic and they do some crazy shit. So, like, I want to make sure that when I go in there, the person knows how to use it properly. Because I've seen way
So
too
don't
many
get
medical shows where the
magnetized.
MRI goes bad and it's scary.
Yeah, no thank you.
And this is how we're getting people
Oh,
to move to
really?
Australia. Like, exactly. This is everything they're doing is not only trying to feed what they want in the austerity and the privatization, it's just pushing away our locals and making them go other places. Like, we're going to have a brain drain. Like, our universities are already struggling. And I'm supposed to be graduating. I'm supposed to have my graduation. And most of the people I'm going to be graduating with are either going to be going to Australia or being unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's ridiculous. And it's just going to keep getting worse.
Would you like me to continue this with I don't know if this is a positive or negative. A large proportion of public sector collective agreements are expiring in the first half of next year. Introducing a bill this side of Christmas will set the stage for this government continuing to deliver better public services in 2025.
What?
So
How?
there's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of things about to expire, and so that means they're all going to have to come back to the bargaining table. But the employees are going to have less bargaining power because they're going to need to get paid. So if they strike, they're not going to get paid, which means they have less bargaining power essentially. The
Well, what's the
unions
bit? They're
can
not
just
even going to
the government
rehire
and the
them.
unions can just that too, but they can
They'll
just keep
probably just
going back
hire
and
someone
forth
to
and back
take
and
it.
forth. And there's no incentive for them to actually continue to move things forward in the way that the unions want on behalf of the government employees. So we're just not going to see anything. You're not going to get the pay rises. They're not going to get the conditions that they want and they need. It's just going to stagnate. So
I don't even
if
know
they
if it
do
would just
strike,
stagnate. It's going to be negative, I reckon. Like, there's too many things happening in too many areas. Like, actually, there's a really great point here from Worming. It's, cancelled kainga order builds means builders who were going to have jobs, Sparky, the people who make all of that. There's so many jobs associated, not even just building the houses, but then people administering those. And also we have homelessness issues. So, like, we really needed those. There's just so many ways that these are all affecting every area and going to have so many flow-on effects that, like, we're probably not even going to see the effects of for at least a few years to come.
Yep. Some scary stuff. So that's another bill that you guys should have your say on. Add that to your list. I don't know when that I think it was Worming, was it? I don't know when that one is due, but that won't be too far away, I can imagine. It's probably in January as well, just like everything else.
Yeah. I'll have to go back
Can't see
over
what
all of
it's
the different submission things and make up a new calendar for the year, since
30th
sure there's
of
a lot.
January. Midnight 30th of
Okay.
January is when that one is due.
Nice. Well, that's good. That gives us a few more weeks to talk about it.
Yeah,
People can let other people know, because I mean,
more
that could
more
affect
exciting stuff.
anyone who's employed. That could affect. So I mean, or even
especially
people who
those
aren't
government
employed.
workers.
Well, yeah, and I mean, we've got a lot
true.
of people facing unemployment at the moment. So, like, and I mean, I can already see people in the chat, talking about, like, who's with me is being frugal as fuck. Like, with this austerity government, they're all going to force us to the same thing, because we can't trust them right now.